Hi guys, welcome to the Fourth Moment Weekly Roundup, and this is where you get your weekly dose of local football action. Although not weekly this week, Andrew, we skipped a week last week.
Yeah, listen, Shamiel, I wouldn't say we predicted. It just circumstances happened, and it was Eid on Saturday, and a lot of games got postponed, so we didn't have a lot of action this weekend that we missed out on.
Well, we should have had the show last week because then there would have been action from the week before.
Yes.
So now we got no action this week because there was no action last week.
Yeah, that's true. But we're here, and we got action this weekend. The weather is good.
But before we continue, I just want to say thanks for the people that reached out and asking where the video is. That's nice to be missed. So that was good. I don't know if you got messages about.
Yeah, I did actually, and my normal Saturday morning routine of watching the show is now. It didn't happen last Saturday, and it rained, so I had nothing much to do. So yeah, but no, don't worry. This weekend you can watch it.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously there's no third division and ABC Motsepe. Maybe we can not much to chat about. Can we chat about the ABC that's happening at the moment? So if you don't know, obviously Nova Parks won the what do you call it, the playoff for to go to the national playoffs.
Yes.
Zizwe's lodged a complaint.
Yes.
And now the complaint has referred to arbitration.
Yes, by the court yesterday.
Yeah, so arbitration, who does the arbitration? Where does it go to?
SAFA.
Okay.
So what normally happens is both clubs have to agree on an arbitrator, and then he hears their case. Zizwe's case is obviously the appointment, the way the appointments.
Yeah, that's what the case is based on. Huh?
Yeah, the appointments were done with the referees. That basically the provincial referee convener or coordinator, he was superseded a national appointed referee. So that's their complaint.
Okay.
In terms of the rules, the provincial convener is supposed to appoint the refs. So that is their point of order, if I can call it that.
Yeah.
And obviously now going to arbitration, we'll have to see what the arbitrator says, Shamiel. And the arbitrator normally follows the rules and the competition rules and the SAFA statute. So let's see. It's not over yet for both teams. We thought Hanover Park was a team we can support now.
Yeah.
But now we've got to wait.
We've got to wait, and it's so disruptive. We remember a couple of years ago when Young Bafana and I think it was Zizwe.
It was Zizwe, yeah.
Yeah, then eventually
both teams were at the venue, remember? I think it was KwaZulu-Natal somewhere.
Yeah, and then also, very disruptive. At the end of it, Young Bafana played.
Yes.
But I remember talking to Coach Ashraf, it was like the whole thing was just disruptive because they didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, let's just
hope teams were warming up on the first day.
Let's just hope it gets sorted before teams
leave.
And hopefully we can still have a team in the playoffs because we don't know with courts and delays. It's 2 weeks before.
I was going to ask you, when is it? 2 weeks time?
2 weeks time. End of the month is national playoffs. So hopefully it can all be resolved.
So this all must be sorted about in the next week because it's going to take you it doesn't take you a week to get there, but it's going to take you.
No, you got to prep.
You got to prep, get the transport, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
Accommodation, everything. Yeah,
so that's ABC done.
Yeah.
So obviously there's LFA action on the go. I'm going to just jump straight into Cape District because I think most of the results are going to come from Andrew today.
Hopefully. And fixtures, a lot of fixtures.
Yeah. So no matches played last week at Cape District because of Eid, but there were 2 games played last night. Actually 4 games played in the Super League. We had Salt River and Grassy Park drawing 2-2. It was a good draw for Salt River. Andrew was at the game.
Okay.
Salt River was up 1-0 in the first half. Good left-footed strike by the left back there, one of the junior coaches actually from a set piece, making it 1-0. Then Grassy Park, obviously, a lot of talent there.
A lot of
young team, a lot of new faces. Great to see that GP is churning out the youngsters there. Then eventually Grassy Park going 2-1 up.
Okay.
And then Salt River getting the equalizer and holding the equalizer. Either team could have won it.
Okay.
Obviously, GP is always going to look like sort of the better team, more skillful and attacking-minded players. But Salt River did well. I think the youngsters did well.
Good result for Salt River.
Good result for them. And then the other game, Greenwood struggling at the moment. So I think first 10 minutes they had a player sent off. So almost the whole game playing with 10 men and Ashford winning there 6-1. Against Greenwood,
Good result for Ashford.
Yeah, I think halftime they were 2-0 up, something like that. I left just after halftime. Yeah, so 6-1.
Wow.
Fixtures coming up this weekend. So Cape District's actually ahead of their fixtures. So they've only got 1 game the weekend. Montague Spurs versus Clearwood. That's going to be a big game at 3:30 in the Super League.
Yeah, that's at William Herbert, Ayfield.
Yeah. That's William Herbert. And then just the log still same as last week or 2 weeks ago. Obviously Monty's top of the log there. Yeah, and season's still early, but Monty's looking
strong.
looking strong. Yeah.
Cape Town Tigerberg, there were only 2 games last week. Shamiel, that Thursday night game, thought it'd be an exciting game between Durbanville and FN Rangers. Obviously, we looked at FN Rangers doing very well. It ended up being Durbanville 7, FN Rangers 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, big result for Durbanville. I know they made new signings, but never saw that result coming.
Yeah.
So how does that? Oh, last night there was a game I was at. It was Vasco da Gama playing against Rechtersdal. Good game, Shamiel.
Yeah. Rechtersdal struggling.
Yeah, listen, they lost the game, so it's 8 losses in a row.
But the losses aren't that big because I know last
I was about to say they actually.
You watched them last night.
Yes, and a lot of youngsters.
Yeah.
And Vasco had a lot of experienced, a lot of ABC players playing.
Okay.
And I thought they handled themselves very well. Vasco went 1-0 up, 2-0 up, about half an hour into the first half, and I thought, okay, the floodgates are going to open here. But Rechtersdal pulled one back to make it 2-1 just before halftime, and they actually held their own second half.
Yeah.
And even though Vasco had the majority of the chances, I thought the Rechtersdal boys played very, very well. They're very well structured as well.
Okay.
And they handled the situation. I think if you looked at them and you never saw the log, you would never guess at the bottom.
Okay.
And they haven't won the game. And they haven't got a point.
Yeah.
But I think the future looks good. They obviously need results. They need 6 points to be safe.
Well, there's a lot of games left. So.
There's a lot of games left. Okay. So the log at the moment, after 10 games, Vasco da Gama top with 23 points. Wynberg second after 10 games with 20 points. Third, we got FN Rangers after 9 games with 20 points. So you see that loss, Shamiel?
Yeah.
That loss was their first loss of the season. Wynberg now the only unbeaten team in the Premier Division. And then we got Edgemead on 18. But there's still a long way to go, like you said, Shamiel. Fixtures this weekend. This weekend will be nice. It's doubleheader at Cape Town Tigerberg. Vasco and Rechtersdal will not be playing on Saturday and Monday because they're playing in the Kent Park tournament, which we'll get to later, So fixtures for Saturday, we've got Bodersag versus Hanover Park. Hanover Park beat Bodersag in the Cup. Will be a nice game. Saturday, Shamiel, 3:45. Edgemead versus Wynberg St. John's. I think it's fair to say that those 2 teams are, in my opinion, fighting for the league with Vasco and a few others. So it's a very nice game, eh?
Yeah.
I think get out to Edgemead if you want to watch. Garden Village versus Fishhook. That will also be a good game. Garden Village doing well.
Yeah.
FN Rangers versus Tableview, another tough game. Tableview, another team.
Yeah.
Both teams in the top 5.
Yeah.
Sure, tough one, eh?
JMI struggling, ne?
JMI struggling. They're right there in the bottom there by Rechtersdal. JMI versus Saxon Rovers. Derby now, Royal Road Derby, I can call it because that's their home ground. UCT Durbanville. Now, UCT have been picking up some good results, Shamiel. They've had a good start to the season.
UCT's got a good team. They got a good team.
Durbanville obviously beating FN 7-2.
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
They're coming.
Yeah.
And then, Monday, Hanover Park versus Garden Village. That'll be a nice game. Both teams play attacking football. FN Rangers, tough weekend. They've got to go to Fishhook. Never easy getting a result in Fishhook. Another derby, Royal Road, Saxon Rovers versus Norway Park. So that derby has a lot of history. Yeah. When I say history, it's like a long period of time that they've played against each other. So that'll be a nice game. Tableview UCT. Both teams also nice to play football. Wynberg play Bodersag on Monday. That'll be a nice game as well, Shamiel.
Yeah.
And that's the double headers at Cape Town Tigerberg. Things are hotting up now.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to jump to South Peninsula. We didn't do South Peninsula 2 weeks ago, so we're on there now again. No games being played last week.
Yeah, I know.
Because of weather and so on. So I'm going to look at just fixtures coming up for this weekend. We've got Aerial Spurs up against Quail. Azuri up against Atletico United. Wow. Crusaders up against Oasis. Good Hope up against Eagle Wings. King David against Wanderers. And Steenberg against Lavendale. And the last one there, Rainbow Chiefs are against Vrygrond.
Wow.
Looking at the log there quickly, we got Lavendale top of the log at the moment.
Sure.
Aerial Spurs in second. Atletico United in third. And then Wanderers in fourth. With Azuri ending the top 5 in 5th spot.
And what's the lead of Lavendale?
Lavendale 2 points ahead, Andrew. 27 points out of 10 matches. Aerial Spurs 25 points out of 10 matches. And Atletico 24 points for the Wanderers 24. Are we going to see Wanderers climb up to make that second spot and be a 1-2 again? Or a 2-1?
Yeah.
The Wanderers are top 11, they'll second. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
South Peninsula, we're always waiting for those 2 teams to climb up.
Yeah, we always do.
Yeah.
Mitchell's playing one of the few LFAs that had a number of games played, or a few games played. So they didn't have any games Saturday because of Eid, but Sunday there were some games. Top of the table team, Beacon Spurs beating Colville 3-0. Beacon Spurs still going. FC Tafelzucht 2, Beacon City 1, good result for Tafelzucht. Juventus 3, Rockefellers 0, Shamiel.
Ouch.
Juventus climbing, they've had 3 wins in a row.
Yeah.
Then we had Liverpool, Portland's Ikapa winning. It says here on the fixtures, away walkover, Ikapa winning. Then Riverton 4, Lentegeur 0. Good result for Riverton.
Yeah, that's a good result.
Sure, team that was promoted, doing well.
Yeah.
Same with Woodlands also. So, Shamiel, what is happening now? Mitchell's playing this weekend. Well, let's get to the log first.
Yeah.
Beacon Spurs, top of the log. 13 games played, 31 points. FC Tafelzucht second, 13 games played, 29 points. So 2-point lead. Third, Westridge, 12 games played, 28 points. So if they win the game in hand, they also go top with 31 points. And then Juventus have climbed up, Shamiel, 13 games played, 27 points.
Yeah.
So there's 4 points amongst the top 4. Nice. Down at the bottom, if we just go have a quick look there, Ikapa Sporting, Lentegeur's bottom with 4 points, and Ikapa Sporting with 5, and then Colville's on 8, just out the relegation zone. So, fixtures this weekend, Shamiel. I think everybody's looking forward to the fixtures this weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
Weather's good for this weekend, so we'll see a lot of action.
Yeah, I think the one thing about Mitchell's playing is, even if the weather's not bad, the fields are okay. Just remember, in Rocklands, we got the Rising Stars, so there's no fixtures there at Rocklands, Shamiel.
Yeah.
So, Bayonne United versus Liverpool Portlands. Here we start with the cracker. That should be a good game. Both teams doing well. Beacon City versus Woodlands. That'll be a nice game, Shamiel, Saturday. At Strandfontein. All these games are at Strandfontein. Cedar Park versus FC Tafelzucht. Ikapa Sporting versus Riverton. Ikapa need points desperately.
Desperately, yeah.
Lentegeur versus Stanturf.
That's a sort of a bottom of the table type thing.
Yeah, Stanturf need points.
Yeah.
Colville versus Juventus. Juventus is going to be high flying there still.
Yeah.
Rockefellers versus Westridge.
That's going to be good. What time is it?
That is 3:30. All those games are 3:30 at Strandfontein.
Strandfontein.
That'll be a nice game.
Yeah.
And then the Spurs derby. I can't call it the Spurs derby. Seringa Spurs versus Beacon Spurs. So top of the table, Beacon Spurs. Sure, it's going to be nice, Shamiel. And then that is, and there's only games on Saturday.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it for the weekend. So yeah, Mitchell's playing. Guys can take a break. Only one set of fixtures this weekend there.
Yeah, you've got Northerns for us also.
Yeah, Northerns. Yeah,
That's why I said you're working today.
I am.
Come, boy.
Okay, Northerns, no fixtures last weekend. So this weekend, Ballard Spurs versus Belleville.
Okay.
Nice. Ballard
BB
Spurs
versus BB.
Yeah. Yeah. B.
Okay,
I'm going to go there. Ballard Spurs got to do well. They got to pick up points, Shamiel. They got some experienced players I know playing there, and they haven't had a good start to the season. Blue Down Spurs versus Bellstar. Eastern Rovers versus Kalkstein. Kalkstein have had a bit of a drop here, Shamiel.
Yeah, not doing as well
as last time.
Yeah.
United versus Trini's. That'll be a nice game.
Yeah.
Trini's will obviously have all their players back from regional 3rd division. And then Valhalla versus Ravensmead, Shamiel. I think that's going to be a tight one. And just to update the log, 12 matches played, 26 points. We have UWC. Bishop Laver still high flying, 9 matches played, 23 points.
Yeah.
And Belleville United, 8 matches played, 18 points.
No losses yet for Bishop Laver. Eh?
No,
They're the only team that
unbeaten,
hasn't lost.
Still unbeaten. So that's Northerns.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that's sort of all that we have from the LFAs, guys.
Yeah.
We're missing the Rygates, and who else is there?
Langas that we used to get.
get.
So come, guys, send it.
Send the stuff, please, so we can highlight your LFA here.
Yeah.
Before we go, we're going to just quickly chat about the Rising Stars. Ken Parker Rising Stars under 23 taking place the weekend at Rocklands. Am I right?
Yes.
You will be there.
I will be there. I think Saturday it starts 9 o'clock.
Okay.
First game Saturday and Sunday is both days. The games start at 9.
Yeah.
So it'll be a nice full day.
It ends Monday, no?
Yeah. And the finals Monday, I think 3 o'clock.
Okay.
But it's going to be very exciting. I think it's the only unique under 23 tournament in the country. And it's a lot of talent, and there were obviously a lot of ABC coaches like myself going there to have a look at the young talent out there. And it's, at the end of the day, Shamiel, a lot of clubs are using this to test their youngsters, their under 18s, 19s. It's also unique in that it caters for players who don't normally or struggle to make the Premier Division first team, because some clubs get players in and whatever. So this also helps their youth and the club. So it'll be very nice.
And then the other one there is AV United under 16 tournament.
Yeah, under 16 tournament, that is at NY116 in Kuguletu.
Okay.
That's always a great tournament. I think Hout Bay are the defending champions.
Yes.
So that'll be very nice to go out there. Also get out there. It's also Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So go out there and support them. I think it's one of the tournaments that teams look forward to on youth weekend. So it's very nice.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
That's it, for the weekend. Short show. But before we go, we want to say, or first, subscribe, like, all the normal things. to the channels and so on, and share the videos. And then, yeah, before we go, we're going to say thanks to Pequeno, our panel sponsor, and London Visuals, who's editing the videos now. And until next week, cheers.
Cheers.